Well, if you missed it, President Donald Trump had a busy weekend on Twitter. Sunday, Trump sent out 29 tweets and retweets, spanning a range of topics, sort of like a, a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Well, that pot of gold definitely had everybody talking, and they're talking about everything from the Mueller investigation to various reporters and outlets he doesn't like, to a horrible crime involving the MS-13 gang member and a former senator who has passed on. So to talk about it all and how Trump's Twitter account can drive a lot of headlines, we get the 360 view from our political panel tonight. Political analyst and Huffington Post contributor Earl Afari Hutchinson and Carrie Sheffield, founder of the new media startup Bold. Thank you for joining me, both of you.
Our pleasure.
Okay, so Carrie,
thanks. Good to be here.
I am going to start with you. So, of course, this gained a lot of praise, but it's also gained a lot of pushback. What do you think President Trump is trying to accomplish when he takes to Twitter on such a spree like what we saw on Sunday?
Well, I think it shows that he's a Renaissance man and he can cover a lot of topics at once. It's clear that we know he's very passionate, but the real key here is he's bypassing the mainstream media. We know the mainstream media is incredibly biased. We see study after study, whether it's Harvard University or Pew University, Monmouth University, not only how journalists self-identify, but how people perceive the mainstream media. It's incredibly leftist and incredibly biased. And so the president is allowing his voice to be heard, and I think that's empowering because it was the American people who put him in office. And in terms of his ability to defend himself against the Mueller investigation, it's really telling how we know how leaky the Mueller investigation is. And at this point, if there was a smoking gun,
right,
we would already know about it. And the fact that he's wrapping up his report, I think the president is fully justified in his basically righteous indignation at how this has gone way far out of proportion as to its narrow mandate for its creation, and I understand his frustration.
Right. Well, I love the idea that you call him a Renaissance man. That definitely sets a good tone for the segment. So, Earl, I got to go for you. Aren't the Democrats and the media doing exactly what President Trump wants, though, by their response to him? But doesn't that just give him reason to keep firing off, because that's what he's done for the past 2 years?
Well, I think so. But, you know, you have to remember one thing, actually two things. It is true, President Trump is trying anyway to control the narrative. And that's why he tweets. I mean, 29 tweets and retweets. That's got to be breaking the Guinness Book of Records. But as far as the Democrats go, the fact is they're pushing back. We're at the point, and they're at the point, that you've got 15 so far Democratic presidential candidates. And that's a lot. You got a big crowded field. Now, really the question is, you've got one person, namely the President of the United States, that can control the narrative through his tweets. How do 15 different individuals get their message across? And usually we're talking about a message that tracks to the left, that obviously is anti-Trump and everything he represents. So that's really the challenge for the Democrats. And I have to tell you, it's a monumental challenge.
No kidding. Well, Earl, you know, it's funny, as Earl was talking, Carrie, it reminded me, though, of Trump when he was in the primary against the 15-plus Republicans. It feels like we're almost like that. Who's going to capture the headlines? And obviously Trump has a little bit of an advantage being president of the United States. At the same time, he obviously is fighting an uphill battle as well. A lot of that battle is going on within his own house, though, because over the weekend we saw that George Conway tweeted out yesterday that his condition is getting worse, and even suggests President Trump has at least 2 diagnosable personality disorders. Not the first time George Conway's gone against him. Can you please explain to me the motives behind Mr. Conway, or Kellyanne Conway's husband, and why he's doing this?
Well, he's just a typical never-Trump swamp creature. That's really what it comes down to. And I think it's unfortunate that he seems to be so insecure in his manhood that he has to try to obstruct his wife. I think it's really unfortunate. And I also want to say that from a mental health standpoint, the American Psychiatric Association put out a warning in 2016 in the heat of the campaign when all kinds of armchair psychiatrists were trying to diagnose then-candidate Trump. And they said, this is wrong, this is dangerous, it's unethical. So not only is George Conway not a psychiatrist, which is the American Psychiatric Association was talking to psychiatrists themselves who were trying to do this, he is not a mental health professional. So it's incredibly reckless, dishonest, and unethical what he's doing. And he's just dividing the country even more. That's what makes me sad. When you have Republicans like this, and the thing is, I didn't vote for President Trump, but when he became our president, I gave him a chance, and he's done some wonderful things at a policy level. And it makes me upset that people like George Conway are going and obstructing, and he calls calls himself a conservative. Like, what's the alternative? You're going to throw things to the left. You're going to throw things to the socialists. That's what you really want at the end of the day, George Conway.
Well, you know what I would love to throw is more time to you guys, but we have to go. Earl, I owe you one. I definitely owe you the start of the next segment. You get to go for the next. Thank you. I apologize. We're at a hard break.
I'm sorry, Earl.
You guys are both wonderful. Thank you for joining on this. I guarantee we're going to continue this conversation.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.